My wedding day was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. Instead, it was the day my world shattered into a million pieces. The woman I was about to marry, my high school sweetheart, Emily, had been cheating on me. And the worst part, she was cheating with my own brother, Mark. I found out right before the ceremony, thanks to an anonymous text. It was a picture of them, together, in a way that left no room for doubt. My heart just stopped. I confronted Emily, and she didn't even deny it. She just cried and said it was a mistake. A mistake? I called off the wedding, right there and then. You'd think my family would have my back, right? You'd be wrong. When I told them what happened, my parents took their side. They said I was overreacting, that I was embarrassing the family. My mom actually said, "These things happen, son. You should forgive them for the sake of family unity." Family unity. My brother had betrayed me in the worst way possible, and they wanted me to just sweep it under the rug. Mark tried to apologize, saying he was sorry, but his eyes told a different story. He looked smug, like he'd won. That night, I packed a bag and left. I couldn't stay in that house, surrounded by people who had so easily chosen my backstabbing brother over me. I cut off all contact. I blocked their numbers, their social media, everything. The silence was deafening at first, but it was better than their empty words and fake apologies. I moved to a different city, got a new job, and started rebuilding my life from the ground up. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. There were days I didn't want to get out of bed. Days the anger and betrayal felt like they were going to swallow me whole. But I knew I had to be strong. I couldn't let them win. Over the next 5 years, I focused on myself. I poured all that pain and anger into my career. I worked long hours, took on every project I could, and climbed the ladder faster than anyone thought possible. I started my own consulting firm, and it took off. I was successful. More successful than I'd ever dreamed of being. I bought a house, a nice car, and traveled the world. I was living the life they told me I'd never have without them. I was happy, genuinely happy, for the first time in a long time. I even met someone new, a woman named Sarah, who was kind, smart, and loyal. She knew my story, and she supported me, never judged me. One day, out of the blue, I got a call from an unknown number. It was my mother. Her voice was frail, desperate. She told me the family business, the one my father had built from nothing, was on the verge of bankruptcy. Apparently, after I left, my brother Mark had taken a more active role. He made a series of terrible investments, and his flashy lifestyle had drained the company's resources. They were about to lose everything: the business, their home, their reputation. And now, after 5 years of complete silence, they were begging for my help. They wanted me to bail them out. I agreed to meet them. I flew back to my old hometown and walked into my parents' house. They all looked older, worn down by stress. Emily was there too, standing awkwardly beside Mark. I learned they had gotten married a year after I left, but their marriage was a disaster. They were constantly fighting, mostly about money. They all looked at me with this desperate hope in their eyes. The prodigal son returned to save them. My father started his speech, talking about family and blood and second chances. He offered me control of the company if I would just invest enough to save it. I let him finish. I listened to my mother's tears and my brother's mumbled apologies. I looked at Emily, who couldn't even meet my gaze. When they were all done, I stood up. I looked my father in the eye and said, "No." The shock on their faces was almost comical. "No," my father stammered. "What do you mean, no?" I told them exactly what I meant. I explained that they had made their choice 5 years ago. They chose the traitor, the liar. They chose to protect the man who shattered my heart and the woman who helped him. They turned their backs on me when I needed them most. I told them that the company was my father's legacy, but it was Mark's to run into the ground. It was the consequence of their actions. I said, "You taught me a valuable lesson that day. You taught me that sometimes the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally will be the first to betray you. You wanted me to forgive for the sake of the family. Well, this family is broken, and it wasn't me who broke it." I told them I had built my own life, my own success, without any of them. I had a new family now, one built on trust and respect. with Sarah. Then, for the final blow, I pulled out a set of documents. I had done my research before the meeting. A rival company had been trying to acquire their main competitor for months. I had used my own capital to buy out that competitor myself. Who's last week? And now, I was their biggest rival. I wasn't just refusing to help them. I was in a position to completely crush them. I told them their business would be bankrupt within 6 months, and there was nothing they could do about it. The look of utter devastation on their faces was my revenge. It wasn't about the money. It was about justice. As I walked out of that house for the last time, I didn't feel anger or sadness. I felt a sense of closure. I had taken back my power. They had tried to break me, but they had only made me stronger. I left them to deal with the ruins of the life they had chosen. I went back to my life, to Sarah, to the future we were building together. Some might say what I did was cold, but they weren't there on my wedding day. They didn't feel the sting of betrayal from their own flesh and blood. I didn't destroy them. They destroyed themselves. I just held up a mirror to their actions, and that was the sweetest revenge of all. Thank you for listening to my story. It's a reminder that no matter how deep the betrayal, you have the strength to rebuild and come out stronger on the other side. Don't forget to like this video if you've ever felt the need for a little justice, and subscribe for more stories. See you next time.